Hey guys, so this video is going to be part of 3 videos, but this is the main video, just doing an unboxing of this engine and talking about it and getting it running. The other 2 videos will be made in the middle of making this video. But anyway, this is a Kohler SH265 6.5 horsepower. Here's the specs on this engine: cast iron cylinder, dual ball bearings, dual oil fill and drain, 2-year warranty. So I've been trying to sell this engine because I got it at such a good deal. I was just basically trying to flip it and didn't have no luck selling, so I decided to keep it and make some videos on it and use it for a project later on. So the other videos on this is going to be, I'm going to show you how to clean the carburetor on this type, remove it, clean it, and reinstall it. And obviously it don't need clean, it's a brand new engine. And there's going to be a video on the governor and choke linkages and all that stuff. And there's going to be a video on adjusting the valves, because I'm not quite sure exactly how the valves adjust on this, and I thought I might make a neat little video, just something to do. And then all that's going to be made, then I'll put it all back together, then get it running for this video. So let's unbox this. And pardon the mess, you see a guitar pickup here and sandpaper. The process of working on this guitar. It's a pine body Telecaster, which will be another video, of course. Right now it's February 26th, so I'm about halfway through with putting the polyurethane on it, so just kind of letting you know what's going on in between the other videos. I don't usually do like unboxing type videos, but I figured why not just do something different. And if you're considering buying one of these engines, you know, that way you know what to expect. And I'm also going to talk about what this engine could be used for as a replacement. And I don't know, just kind of something different to throw up. If you guys don't like it, let me know. I won't do nothing like this again. Alright, so here's the paperwork on it. Kind of an impressive manual. You have to glance at that. Packing. And the engine. I had a feeling I'd end up keeping this engine, but I tried to sell it. I had it up for sale for a good 3 or 4 months, but somebody offered me right at what I paid for it. And these were going for $300 and some, brand new on Amazon, so I couldn't pass it up buying it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the engine. Got the model and serial number on it. It's a PA SH265 3011. Obviously it's a gasoline engine. And we can still sell it later on anyway. I'm not going to be using it for anything, so it's still going to be kept brand new except for adding oil to it and getting it running and obviously taking it apart, but it's not going to do no damage to it. Pretty impressive air filter housing here. It's made similar to a Predator or a Honda engine. The air filter looks the same. It looks like it's interchangeable. Probably is, more than likely. A lot of these, I call them slant ones, where the cylinder's slanted like this. Are very similar. It's not the same. I'm sure this is different than an actual like Honda or something. It's Kohler's take on it. I've used these engines before. Well, I should say I've ran equipment with this engine on it. Had a pressure washer. I had one of these on it, and I never had no problems out of it. It's a good running engine. It's basically the same thing. It's a little bit different than this, but I'm pretty sure the engine itself is the same. The recoil, it can be changed, so you can switch it around if you need to pull up here or on the side. It's got a shut-off switch, on and off. And you can get into the wiring here and wire it into a switch that's on the piece of equipment that you're changing it out. And one good feature, it's got the drain and fill plugs on both sides. It just makes it more universal and easier to get to change the oil in it. Pretty typical muffler. It's got a bigger shield than most. I just cut my finger on the keyway slot. Oh well. About typical, always get cut on everything. but it looks like a same muffler like a Predator 212 would have factory, so they could probably be made to adapt to another type of muffler if this won't work on your piece of equipment. So this could be used for, obviously the first thing that comes to mind would be a tiller, or a pressure washer, a log splitter, wood chipper, maybe a small walk-behind blower if you have something like that needed in the engine. This is a 3/4 inch shaft, pretty standard size shaft. This bolt pattern is the same on all of these, even like the old Briggs & Stratton engines. So if you get a pressure washer pump, or I was going to say a generator, but most generator engines have a tapered shaft, but if for some reason yours doesn't, this should work on it if it's 3/4 inch. This does have a ball bearing on this side and the flywheel side, so that's always good. Just makes it heavier duty and just better quality and less friction, so I guess it could make it possibly a little bit more fuel efficient too. This is the throttle control here. Pretty typical setup for most modern engines. Choke and the fuel. This way it's on, and this way it shuts the fuel off. Now the one we had, when that pressure washer I was talking about, it didn't have an actual switch like this. When you shut the fuel off, it would shut the engine off. I figured this one would have had that too. I didn't really notice that and think about it until just then. But I think this is the first video I ever made on a Kohler engine on this channel, because I'm a die-hard Briggs & Stratton guy, but I do like Kohler. Kohler's my second choice. I really like the old Kohler flatheads. They were going like the old, those are really smooth running engines. I don't know what it was, but they idled so smooth, like even smoother than most Briggs engines did. And it just, they had their own little sound when they was idling, just to accelerate it up good and everything. If anybody knows like the engine I'm talking about, you'll know what I'm talking about, because they're just a smooth running engine. So hopefully this will be like that, but I figure this will run just about like any Honda style engine, or like the Predator engine and all that, which is just fine too, because they're pretty good running engines. Also wanted to point out, let's get this sticker on here about checking the oil and what type of oil to use. 10W30 is like a standard. I'll be putting 30 weight in it for right now, just because that's what I got more of on hand. But it says change oil after initial 5 hours, then every 100 hours, or annually. So that's just kind of a basic guideline. And this does have a low oil shutoff. You see this wire coming out of the crankcase. So if it gets down too low, the oil level gets down too low, or the engine tilts a certain way, it will shut off. So that's a good thing to protect the engine. The Predator engines also have that from like Harbor Freight, those engines. And those are good engines too, and for the price I honestly recommend those. You really can't beat them. These do have a little bit better warranty though, but it still has the same cast iron cylinder and dual ball bearings, and pretty much everything else is identical. And it's probably the same carburetor too. It's pretty much a standard, industry standard carburetor. That's why I started not to make a video on that, but I figured why not, just in case there was a little difference or something. So let me go ahead and make the other videos on this, and then we'll bolt it to my test frame and put some gas and oil in it and try to start it up. Alright, so just finished recording the other 2 videos on this one, how to clean the carburetor and the governor and throttle linkages, and the video on how to adjust the valves on this engine. This does not have a valve cover gasket. They use sealant at the factory on it, so I put the former gasket back on it. I'm not a big fan of doing that, but that's the way they had it. So I'm trying to think of a couple other features I didn't talk about yet, and I thought I seen one thing a while ago, because I took the muffler off to make that other video. And this deflector is fully adjustable. You got 2 screws that hold it on, and there's a series of screws around here to put that deflector in pretty much any position you need to. Right now it's pointing down. You could have it pointing out or up, and probably this way, but you may not want to because it might melt the plastic. So that's a good feature too, because a lot of mufflers are pre-made. And if you took this off, you could just let it point straight out if you wanted to. So it's very versatile. I recommend leaving the shield on there, because that'll help keep you from getting burnt quite as bad. Almost got cut again on that keyway. So now we're going to put oil and gas in it. Like I said, we're just going to put 30 weight in it. I got to look up in the book and see exactly how much, so I won't get too much or not enough in it, and go from there. So I wanted to show you guys something out of the book. It don't tell you exactly how much oil to put in it. It says fill crankcase with new oil up to a point of overflow and filler neck. So you fill it up until the oil starts running back out. So we're not going to do that. That's what Briggs and Stratton used to say on the old books too. It's got oil on the dipstick, but it's just from running it at the factory. So I'm going to look up the actual amount of oil that goes into this and measure it, and we'll see how close we are to overflowing. So if you look in the book a little bit further, you come across the oil capacity, 0.63 quarts or 0.6 liters. So it's 12 cubic inch displacement or 196 cc. There's your bore and stroke for all three of these models, which are apparently the same. Spark plug gap, maximum angle of operation. That's how much I put in, just a little bit over 20 ounces, and it's right at 600 milliliters, so that's 0.6 liter. So this is the oil I'm putting in it. Good stuff. And it says after 5 hours to change it after being broke in. So this is a good oil to use and break in with, so should be good to go on that. You pretty much have to have one of these real long funnels in order to do anything with it. If you don't, it's just going to go all over the place. And still, even at that, you got to pour it super slow or it'll come out. I guess they're accurate on that. That's what they said to put in there, and it's too much. So I just bolted it down there and just happened to notice something else. On the seam here where the something goes on there, they use sealant on that too, so apparently they don't like gaskets. But, I mean, it is what it is. So, another thing I was going to note, it's got the same bolt pattern as like well, obviously a Predator 212 or a Honda GX 160 or 200, whatever the equivalent is. And it's also the same bolt pattern as like the old 5-horse Briggs too. So it's very universal. I'm not going to put a whole lot of gas in it because I'm going to drain the gas back out and run it dry, because I don't want to leave gas in it until I get ready to use it for something. So. You got to get enough in it for it to gravity feed down there too. Should be enough. So most of the time with this type of carburetor, you turn your fuel on, it's already on. Choke it, give it about a quarter throttle, and make sure your switch is on. It'll start the first pull, usually, but we'll see. It probably won't start back up without choking, but let's just see. Good running engine. Notice at full throttle it's surging just a little bit. It's probably running just a little bit lean, and it's a non-adjustable carburetor, but that adjustment there might help with that a little bit, but it'll also smooth out once it gets under load, because just some engines are like this, and they're making everything run so lean nowadays. And like this was your older type carburetor, it had the adjustment on the bottom, just a slight little bit of a turn would smooth that right out, but it is what it is. But good running engine, I'm impressed. First start, and started on the first pull, so that was impressive. So Another good use for this, I forgot to mention, it'll be on a mini bike, but you might have an issue with the height of the gas tank here, so you may have to have a separate tank, and that would be the only problem, but also have a really nice go-kart engine. I'm not sure what I'll use it for. I mean, I have a Predator 212 sitting down here that I fully built and never put the video up for, and I also have an actual Honda 5.5 horsepower and an old Greyhound 6.5 horsepower, which was the kind of what came out before the Predator 212s. So I got all those to fall back on. Of course, my 50 plus vintage Briggs & Stratton engine, so it's not like I have to have this, but I just thought it might be a good opportunity to make some videos on. So I'll put this in real quick before I end it. I just took it off the stand and gathered up the stuff, and thought I'd make sure there wasn't nothing else in the box other than the moisture thing. And they sent a key with it for the crankshaft, for putting a pulley or clutch or whatever on. So I thought that's pretty neat. So I'll put that in there with it, so it's got a new keyway, or key. That way it's ready to roll. Well guys, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment below. If you got anything else you want to see in this engine, I'll try to make a video on it. So thanks for watching guys, we'll catch you on the next one.